I am Katie Menhinick. I currently live in Paramus, New Jersey. I graduated from DU in 2016. I majored in psychology, and then for my fifth year, I got a degree in curriculum and instruction from the Mortgage College of Education for a year. And then I moved back home and searched for a job, and I've been teaching any K through 4 classes. And this year I got my first tenure track position in second grade in Oradell, New Jersey. So I was super excited, and it's also been a really tough year, which I know we'll talk about that later, but yeah.
Awesome. Do you want me to go next, Kara?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. I'm Jennifer, and I graduated from DU in 2000. I also had a degree in psychology and a minor in communications. After I graduated, I coached gymnastics and taught preschool for a while and got married, had kids, and then decided I wanted to get my teaching degree. So I went and got my master's in elementary education. And I've been teaching fifth grade for the most part for the last 11 years. I'm living in Aurora, Colorado. I've been living here for the most part since I graduated. And yeah, I live in the neighborhood of the school that I teach at, so that's a lot of fun. And I'm married to a teacher, and my boys go to his high school now, so that's fun too.
My name is Kara Johnson. I was Clothier when I graduated, or when I was in DU. And like Jen too, I graduated in 2000, majored in business, and right after graduation, I moved back home to California. So I live in Orange County, California. And then I think started teaching shortly after that, maybe a year or so after, with another DU alumni as well. We went through the credential program down here together and started teaching. So God, it's crazy to think I'm in my 19th year teaching. You probably are too, Jen, right? Has it been close to that?
I waited. I didn't get into the profession until after I got married and had kids. So I got a later start on it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did. So I've just been teaching here. I teach high school mod severe special ed. That's been fun. I started in elementary. I did 3 years in elementary and then moved into high school, and I love it. I've been doing high school for 16 years now. And like Jen, I teach in my neighborhood, like very close to where I live, and I really do like it. My kids aren't in high school yet, my own two, but they're in my district, and that's nice too. So.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, we should probably get into the crazy year we're having with teaching. And I just know that for me in second grade, my kids come in only for 2.5 hours. So everything is like super, super fast. And one thing that I found that's kind of difficult for them, which I've had to navigate a little bit with, is their transition time. Because if I think about it, they were only halfway through their first grade year where they went remote. And so they still had a lot of things to catch up on. So when they came back into the classroom, the transitions were super hard for them. So I've just had to, find different things that works for them, whether it's like counting or using a timer. And it's still a little bit of a struggle, but I'm not sure what some of your problems you've noticed with you guys with remote, but I know that's been a big one for them. So.
And I think this year, I feel like I've been really lucky. Our kids have been the elementary kids have been in 5 days a week. And I think the hardest transition for me is just, trying to, you want to run up and hug your kids, that's part of the reason why we got into education, is because we love these kids. We have a passion about working with kids, and it's very hard when you're super excited about something, or you want to comfort a kid who's having a rough day, that you have to keep your distance, you have to keep your space, because we all know how much we're longing for that, human contact. That's been hard. But I have to say that, our district has done a wonderful job, and the kids have done a wonderful job. I teach fifth graders, so they're 10 and 11-year-olds. And When we came back, so last year we were all remote, like I think the whole country. So when we came back into school, I think, all kids and my own biological kids as well, like everybody was just so thankful to be back in school, in a classroom. And the kids, I think, are so resilient. They kind of slid in, and unlike you, Katie, our kids have been able to do a full school day. So they come in at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then they're there until 2:45. So really the big thing that's different this year is, we're all spaced out and we're all in masks, but thankfully, knock on wood, their school day has been pretty similar to the year before. So that's been nice.
Well, gosh, my year has been very challenging. Teaching special ed mod severe, online learning isn't for my students, right? As it's not for a lot of students. I think even the adjustment of learning to teach online was really challenging, right? And how do you teach on Zoom and individualize with students that need you right next to them, right? And of course, like all of us, parents adjusting to, how do you help support your kids and work from home at the same time? A lot of our kids struggled with that. We were online like you guys, and I think it was last March when everything started to close down, which was challenging. And then we started the year online, and thankfully we've been back full time, just like you guys, Jen, like 8:30. I think we're 8:30 to actually 9 to 2:15. So like a little shortened day, but still pretty much full day, 5 days a week. So that's been awesome. And we need it, like you said, us adults need it too. Our students need it. Our whole program is still very, very different because high school, my students are typically with me for 4 years, and our program is very vocational and community based, and we're not able to do any of those things. We have to stay on campus. We can't go off site to work out in the community or do our community-based instruction and learn how to do independent transportation and pay for food out in the community together, and work on job sites, all that stuff stops. So we're in the classroom all the time, which is still good, a lot of learning. The kids are doing great. I think the transition, wearing masks and keeping distance, like you said, is very tough. How do you teach students that are just used to, some are nonverbal and they communicate by touching and feeling and grabbing, and to not be able to do that is really tough. Some students can't wear a mask at all, period. It's just not possible. So, we have that, which we've all been able to adjust, and everybody's been very safe. But overall, considering, I think all of it, it's been really successful. The kids, like you said, even kids with special needs are super resilient. They are adjusting and they're flexible, and just like us adults and teachers, they're learning. We're all learning to adjust to a new kind of flexible, things that we couldn't do before. Now we have to do it differently, and they're doing really, really well. I said there's days where my staff and I, because I have a lot of adult instructional assistants, look at each other and we're like, oh my gosh, our kids are killing it in there. Like, you wouldn't even know there's a pandemic happening in the classroom because we're just so used to doing what we're doing. Everyone's doing a great job, but group work and all the hands-on stuff, it's hard. Cooking was a big part of our program. We can't cook anymore, so there's so many of those things. Like, thinking back and trying to remember what it was is like, we got some adjusting to do to go back once we're able to. So, but.
And I think what's also been really great too is everybody as teachers, from not even just in your own district, but from other districts or even like in other states, everybody's super supportive and reaches out and helps everybody. And I think that's, really important too, because I know one of my students, her mom is a teacher, and, we just go back and forth with things, and we, support one another and help each other out. And the parents are also super supportive and helpful with everything, even like tiny little things. If I forget to send, a homework assignment home, I mean, they're so flexible with, printing it out themselves and, being able to do it, stuff like that. The parents have become super flexible with homework assignments. Like, we talked about with families, like things don't work, like, it's okay. Like, we'll be super flexible with everything. So that's been really great too.
I think that's the word for this year, right? Flexibility, because I coach high school gymnastics as well in our district. And, that's just how it is right now. It's flexibility. Like, do we have a schedule yet? No, but we're all flexible. Whereas in years past, it may have been like, we need this now, or you know what I mean? Like, we've had this for 4 months ahead of time. And I don't think that that's the case with anything anymore, whether it's school, whether it's personal life. You can't plan ahead, or you can plan ahead, but then you also have to know that that's the scenario as of today at 6 p.m. That could change in 2 hours. So I think, like you said, Katie, I think everyone has become a lot more flexible because we have to. We have to, because there are things that are out of our control and we can stress about it, or we can go with it, right? And I stress a lot. But it's
it's hard not to, and it's hard, like you said too, just being able to like plan things. You want to like, okay, let's put this on the calendar, maybe we could do this, but be prepared that it can't happen.
Right.
Be prepared. Everything will change in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or like you said, in 2 hours. That the resiliency and the flexibility has been amazing. And our parents too, super flexible and very, very supportive. I mean, as much as you can be. But yeah, I mean, what a different year. I don't want to get too used to it. It's a problem. We're getting very used to it. I don't want to be used to it. I want to like anticipate what it'll be like to
next year.
open up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know if, I'm sure you don't deal with this at all, like snow days. I know that has been a huge factor, at least here. They were thinking about taking away their first snow day that they had in December. But then they thought about like how it could, impact them emotionally as kids. Like, I remember as a kid, I lived for snow days. Like, that was the thing, was to go out in the snow and everything. And they've been really good about choosing the difference between like giving the kids a snow day and also, having them learn online virtually, which has also been helpful too. So.
Yeah, I don't think, and I don't know, I feel like remember like last week, let alone like a month or two ago, but I don't think we've had any snow days this year. Maybe we had one, but we've been in person. And when we were in our remote period from, I think the week before Thanksgiving till winter break, there weren't any days that it would have been a snow day, but I agree with you. Like, you can't take that away from kids, right? They got to go out and play and sled and build snowmen. And
yeah, because we definitely talk about like, in some aspects, the kids do still need somewhat of a normalcy, and having a snow day is kind of one of those. And I just know in Jersey, we've been getting hammered with snow this past month. I mean, it's literally snowed almost every other day for the past 3 weeks.
Has your experience as a student athlete helped you?
Yeah.
Flexibility this year, right?
Right.
Jen, well, we were there at DU for an interesting 4 years. I think it was probably the biggest 4 years of transition probably ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking back at it, gosh, just even our practices, like I think Jen and I went through a new coaching staff just about every year we were there, right? At least someone new.
Mm-hmm. And we were able to start off at the alumni gym, which was the last year that building was even there. So Katie, where the business building is now, was where our old gym was. And it was just a gymnastics gym and a locker room in the basement, if I remember right. Like, I think lacrosse used that, and we had our side, but I don't think I ever went down there. So we went through that gym. And like Carrie said, we went through that gym. We had at least one new coach every year.
Yeah. So after our first year, they demolished that building, right? And then we moved into
the field house.
Like the basketball, probably where they set up from. Well, even that's all changed, but it was a section of the basketball court that was turned into a gym for, what was that, a year or two?
For 2 years. So where they now have so if you think of the practice gym now, and then those 3 courts right next to it, that used to be our old field house. Those were the 3 courts that we had for our field house. And we were in that last court. They built like an above ground pit.
Yeah.
We were there for 2 years, because then our senior year, or our junior year, was it our junior year when when they imploded the
Yeah.
ice arena and everything. And so when we came back, when Kara and I came back for our senior years, we started working out at a club gym. We had to start practice at a club gym, right? Yes.
Yeah.
I forget what it was called, but we were there for 2 weeks. It wasn't a long time. And then the Ritchie Center opened up in September of 99.
Yeah. And then our senior year in that, the gym where everyone is now. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool to have like the old gym, the transition gym. And then when we were in the Ritchie Center, the new gym, we were like, this is like amazing. We had an awesome locker room. We had a locker room, like a real one. The equipment, I mean, everything was great. So yeah, being flexible, is like, we just went with it. But I think even at our age, as kids, I call, college age kids. You just kind of went with it. You were told, okay, well, we're going to work out in here. Okay, that's what we're going to do. We got to go work out at the club. Okay, like no big deal.
Yeah.
I think the thing was time management, because that's so different transitioning from high school to college. And now especially when you get into season, you have to, time manage between school, traveling, gymnastics, training, like training room. It's a lot to, do. So I think that's really good for this year. You have to think of like your time management is a lot different than maybe as a teacher in previous years, because, like we said, things change and it could change in a matter of 2 hours. I could find out you're going remote at 8:00 on Thursday night and we went remote on Friday, and you have to come up with what you need for the next 2 weeks, and which is crazy. But, and we also have to manage our time at times to step away from teaching or a little bit and like have times for ourselves for mental reasons and time to be with your family and be able to still do things, outside of school. So that's a big thing too.
Yeah, I totally agree. Time management. And then, gosh, for me too, it's just having that strong support of our team that we had, through all the changes and transitions, and even transitioning to college, like you said, was tough. We came from, none of us were from Denver, right? We all came from out of state, met each other for the first time. And for all of us, probably, living away from home for the first time. We didn't have cell phones. We were just learning to use email. Do you remember that? We'd go to the break fiscal, and every chance you got, Jen was checking. We were trying to check our emails just for one little, so it was like,
that's
and have any communication. And I remember Jenny and I would go to Conoco just to get like a prepaid phone card, right, for minutes. Do you remember that? We would call home on those minutes. So, that was, we did it then. This is, we've such a strong support, but it would have been tough, having a really fun, successful 4 years without my whole team. And then ending it with Melissa and the staff was pretty amazing. So starting was great, again, with like all of the girls in the years before us, right? Every year to look forward to when we were freshmen, like the sophomore, juniors, and seniors, like all of them were so good to us, and they were so supportive, and they were such great leaders, and they all took us under our wing. There was girls that we were comfortable, bonding with for anything, like everything, right? Like we had our go-to people for everything. And we just knew at the end of the day that we can rely on any single person. And learning to trust people when you're so far away and you're meeting people for the first time, is really tough. But it was so awesome. Like I couldn't have gone through all of it with, a better group of girls, as I'm sure everybody can say, right? So, and that helps so much. And then just knowing that, if I go through anything and I've got a strong support system, my family, my friends, my colleagues at school, whoever it is, that, what can't we get through, really? Look at all of us are getting through the pandemic. We're still teaching and our kids are doing good. So, yeah, it's one of those things that's like, it's just embedded in us, I think, right? After doing it for so long in college, like we don't know any different, right?
Well, I think maybe translates into, maybe why the three of us and so many more people who have been part of teams or athletes go into this field, because I feel like you said, it's embedded in us. And that's how I try to create my classroom. I want that sense of community and team and family. And I know I spend a lot of time like a lot of time on building a classroom environment where kids feel safe, they feel valued, because I feel like if you can feel that, like we felt when we were part of our team, if you can feel that, you can get the best out of your students. They trust you. They know that you care about them. They know that you know what are their interests outside of school. They know that my teacher really cares about me. She thinks I'm important. I think that translates into how we run our classrooms and why we're in this profession. And like you were saying, Katie, also like how teachers reach out and are helping each other. And how, Kara, you said that, your teammates, coworkers are there for you. I mean, you build that sense of team within your teammates now at school, who are your co-teachers, and you build that sense of community with the students that you work with, so you can provide an environment for kids and set them up for success. And so, yeah, I loved hearing you talk, Kara. I have not thought about Conoco and like prepaid cards. And she wasn't lying. Like we would wait at Driscoll until the computer was free and then get on and check our email.
Computer, yeah.
Because we didn't have computers in our rooms. And then when we had to go to Towers for the interterm, that's what it was called, right? Yes.
Interterm.
I don't know.
Whatever. There was a computer, there was 2 computers, I think, right down by the front desk. And we would go down there like late at night.
It was us in basketball that would use it. So, I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
For me, I had technology.
Well, I think one thing that's funny about how things have kind of evolved over time, and even the time that we were there, when the freshman class came in, when we were seniors, maybe Kara, we were either juniors or seniors, I think they required them to have laptops, and we were like, oh my gosh. Remember that? Like they had to bring a laptop, and we're like, oh my gosh, like they're making them bring a laptop, or maybe it was part of their tuition. I don't know. But that was just like, oh, wow, like everybody's going to have their own computer. And now it's like, you can't go anywhere without one, right? You can't do anything.
I remember Stachi brought a computer, and I think we'd all use hers. Remember that? She had that one computer. And we'd all
have to go to our dorm rooms though, right? Because they weren't laptops. Isn't that funny?
Right. Yeah, I know.
Oh my goodness.
And now we spend a lot of time staring at those laptops.
I know. Well,
I've actually bought those blue light glasses while I teach, and it has made such a difference because I used to get headaches by the end of the day if we were ever home virtual, and it made such a difference. So I highly suggest, if you're ever on the computer all day and you get headaches from it, wear them. They help a lot.
Yeah. I like them.
I got those this last time we were remote.
Yeah.
Gosh, who was it? Was it Melissa Jen that used to always say like expect the unexpected, or was that Joy? Somebody would always say that, right? That's like the motto of this year. It's like always expect the unexpected. Yeah.
Well, we expected that unexpected.
We expected the spring break. What was it? An extra like 7 days, and then it kept getting prolonged, and we're like, uh-oh.
I know. Oh my gosh.
I guess since we're kind of talking about memories, I think one of my favorite memories from DU was just every time we got to travel, and we would always do, what was it called? Where we would get together the morning of, and we would do like dances together. I can't remember what the name of it was called, but we would everybody would pick something, and we would pick the theme of where we were, and those were always like one of my favorite memories, and we would always record them. And the greatest thing with social media is it pops up every year as a memory, and it's something that you can always look back on and remember making those videos and how much fun traveling was with your teammates and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, that is nice for I don't want to say your generation, because that does not sound right, but for your era, right?
Yeah.
I have to go through my scrapbook. But it would be so great to have those memories pop up, because I know I love it when I see them of my kids or my nieces and nephews, because I'll take out my scrapbook every once in a while, and here's my memory, Kara. I was thinking about this, because in my scrapbook, and I'll have to text this to you. So one of my favorite memories was not only just, if you think about memories of being an athlete, the gymnastics part was fine, but it was the time spent with your teammates late at night, or going to Perkins to study until 3 a.m. or, you know, you can go on and on and on, right? So time with your teammates. So Kara and but I think Kara did most of the writing, used to make itineraries for our travel trips.
Please tell me, do you have one?
I have one. It's like 8 pages.
I tried making it for my daughter's soccer away trip and I couldn't for the life of me. Like
I will text you. I will text you every single one. It was one when Joy was there and we were sending, it was one of our assistant coaches messages on the airplane with a little luggage travel pack. And anyway, it's really funny to us, and maybe it's not going to be funny to anybody else, but we would do these itineraries because I think it was, was it Joy who started like the step-by-step itineraries?
Or
And
Carl, maybe Carl. It was somebody who, yeah.
I think it was, yeah. I want to say it was when Joy was there, because then when Melissa came on, I think we gave her like an itinerary one time, like we made her one, and she was probably like, "Oh my goodness, this is my first year here. What's going on?" But she was always a team player. She always, I think, appreciated them. But we would just make up funny stuff, and and just say, "Here's what we needed this time," and all this stuff. But we would spend, and we would handwrite them, and they were handwritten. But it's just those things I think back, and to me, and Kara, it's like it brings back all these memories and just like fun little things. Like you said, you did these dances like in the mornings, when you were traveling. That was one thing that we would do. We'd watch a video, remember Power of the Dream, before competing, that I forced on everybody because it inspired me. We would, I don't know, there's so many things, but I wanted to make sure, Kara, that you knew that I did have an itinerary.
That makes me so happy, Jen. I wish I had one. I tried to do something funny like that, because I think it started, whoever was it, Joy, that gave us the itinerary before an away meet, the first away meet that year. It was like 9 a.m. meet at the bus, 10 a.m. arrive at DIA, 10:15 go here. And we were like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, we were laughing about it because it was so structured, right? I mean, as it should be, but we were like, I think we can make this a little bit funnier, right? There's so many funny things we could do, but I don't know if we drew pictures on there too, but that's definitely one of my favorite memories too. Yeah.
Remember that? Wow.
Yes. And if how many times I've heard Cotton Eye Joe, if I can remember that, I can't remember the dance, but if we ever had that on tape, or if I can remember that dance, it'd be so fun to do. Would teach my daughter that dance. But it's so many memories. And like you said, I wish we had phones then. I wish we had it on our camera roll. You know how many photos and videos we would have taken, and it would have been so cool to see all the memories. And I love how you guys can tweet everything now, or on Instagram, the things that you can share and the things that are online. And I love it. Those things are so cool to have. But the traveling, the bonding with the team, I mean, after practice, we'd be like ice packs neck to toe and sit and have the longest dinner of our lives down in the cafeteria. Do you remember that? Yeah. We'd sit there for like 2 or 3 hours and then somehow be on like our 8th bowl of cereal or something. I don't know, Cocoa Krispies or whatever we'd have, or and just the time with the girls, like away and before, and looking back, how exciting the things that we did there and what we were part of, Jen, I think was so cool. Even like our senior year, we lost. I mean, we didn't go, we were like 0.025, right? Are we going to 0.025, right?
Yeah, you got it.
But going to nationals, and we were like, no. And then I don't even know.
We would have been, Katie, that would have been the first year ever that DU would have qualified for NCAA championships, and we were 0.025 away. That was Melissa's second year. Yeah, go on. I don't know what you're saying, but yeah.
I mean, and even the other teams that we bonded with, like basketball, hockey. I mean, you just knew all those guys had your back, and it was so fun. We had a really great group of student athletes there, and ourselves, and then our coaches, and Melissa, always the cheerleader, is amazing, to end. And it's so funny looking back now how close in age she was with us, I think, right?
I know, right, when she took over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's really exciting to look back and see, like, those little moments that we had, there's so many of them that really did stick with us and just kind of help us become who we are. And like you said, Jen, like become the teacher that I am in the classroom too. Like we're always expecting more. My kids are mod severe special ed, and I'm always expecting more from them, and not giving up. Even the little successes are huge, you know, and I love those little ones that get us to the next. And you know, just keep having that expectation has just been one of my biggest takeaways. You know, no one gave up on us through everything that we went through. I mean, I could have had the worst 4 years of my life, but no one gave up on us. Our teammates never did. And I think we're those people today where we don't give up on, you know, our kids and our profession too.
And I think, you know, and I know one of our next questions is like, what advice would you give to the current student athletes? Like building on what you were saying is, you know, I remember that Melissa was there for us all the time. Like from the moment she stepped on campus, and for us, that was the last 2 years of our career. You know, I knew she was in our corner, and whether we were in the lineup, not in the lineup, injured, the best athlete, like she was in your corner. She was there for you. She was building you up, trying to always make you see the positive, expecting, you know, high expectations, hard work, absolutely. But you knew you could go talk to her, and then she was there for you, and she would listen, and she would help any way that she could. And, you know, I think of some conversations that I had with her, and I always try to think about when I'm working with my student athletes and my students, you know, I take some things from our conversations and I try to implement what she taught me and pass it on to my kids, my students. So I guess advice is listen to your coach, girls, because she knows what she's talking about and she cares a lot about you. And I think what I took away most is that she cares about me as a person. She cared about me as a gymnast, but she cared more about all of us as people, and to enjoy this time. I wish, and it's such a, like, is cliche the right word? I don't even know, but you know, enjoy this time. Like you're never going to have these like 4 years where you're doing your own thing. You don't have the responsibility of taking care of other people, family, you know, you're most of you, I'm guessing, are away from home and living on your own and just doing stuff, and just enjoy these 4 years. And, you know, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I see my own kids getting close to college age, and I want that for them because it did make such a big impact in my life. Because even like 20 years later, Kara and I hadn't seen each other in almost like probably 17 years until last year. It'd been a while, but you can pick up right where you left off. And you can't do that with a lot of people that you meet along the way. You know, you hope your kids build those types of friendships where you could reach out and know that I haven't talked to you in 15 years, but if I really needed you, you would be there for me, you know? So
I think my biggest advice is definitely cherish every memory that you have at DU because it goes by so fast. And take that love and passion that you have for the sport that you put into gymnastics and the DU team. And just like I did, I took it into teaching, and, you know, I brought that passion towards teaching. And just like Kara and Jen said, you know, wanting to instill all of the things that we learned through gymnastics into them as students, you know, as they continue to go up through each grade. So yeah, take that passion of gymnastics and put it towards something that you're going to find that you're going to love for the next however many years until you retire. So
No, I agree. I think it's, you know, in our DNA as gymnasts to have passion and give it our all and give it everything we have. And like you said, Katie, finding that after a college, whatever the career is, and for us it's education, and being able to put all of our passion into it. You know, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's just in us. It's who we are, and to put everything in it and just keep doing the best we can. And what more can we do? And this pandemic was the biggest challenge for us, is, you know, trying to figure out how in the world am I going to teach online? And then once you figure it out, it's like, what more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? When does it stop? I don't know, but it's just fun. And I loved my 4 years at DU, you know, the good, the bad, everything. I loved all of it. And I want my own 2 kids to have that experience, and whatever it is, whether it's a sport, whether it's, you know, academics or anything. I want them to have that, that experience of going away and having what we had, learning to do laundry or, forgetting to switch your clothes from the washer to the dryer. And then they come in and they put new dryers in the middle and now you lose your clothes forever. That happened to Sachi and I was like, I don't know what to do. I think Sachi taught me how to do laundry for the first time, but learning your body. I mean, that was the biggest thing for me is like, I didn't know my body. I didn't know how, my body worked as far as like the things to put in it and how to, properly take care of myself being away. Cause we go from club gymnastics to, 30 to 40 hours a week to NCAA where we're just the 20 hours a week. And then we've got school and living and, we've got these other jobs that we're doing. And, so that was a huge, transition thing for me as well. But, we learn, we go through it and we do it together. And, as everyone says, and it is so cliche, make the best of everything. It really does go by fast. And being able to look back and have those memories is amazing, and that's what I'll always take with me. And I really want that for my kids, for anyone really who wants to have that experience or doesn't quite know if they should go away to college or do a sport. Like, it's so amazing. And I found myself so many times throughout my adult life having this conversation where it comes up where people ask you about it, gymnastics, or you did a sport, and then they always ask about your experience. Like, how was it? What was it like? Did you do this? Did you do this? And it's so cool to be able to say, yeah, I did that. Looking back at it, like, we're just these, robots, and we just get up and we go to school and practice and go through the whole thing and travel. But looking back at it, like, it's huge. What you're doing is awesome, amazing. And it's so cool to be part of, DU Gymnastics. Look at it now. I mean, gosh, DU Gymnastics, like, you look at Oklahoma and it's like Denver and Oklahoma, we were always battling for like the top 25, right? And now it's pretty cool. It's amazing. And kudos to Melissa and the coaching staff and everyone there. It's so cool.
I also want to say, because I know I went through a time after college that I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do because I didn't get my degree in what I'm doing now, so that it's okay if you don't know. I think a lot of gymnasts don't have any work experience because we trained our whole lives. So you didn't work in high school. I know in the summertime I had jobs, but they had nothing to do with what I wanted to do after school because I wasn't sure. So just to let any athlete that's struggling, like, it's okay if you don't know. I didn't figure it out until I was 33. I took 10 years after graduating to figure out what I wanted to do. And that was hard for me because I felt like I saw everybody else around me going on with their careers and I was doing like jobs. I mean, I was coaching, which I loved, and I was teaching preschool, but then, I never found what I really loved until I got into teaching, and it took a while. And I think that's okay too. So that was a hard thing. Because you have gymnastics your whole life, you have this team your whole life, right? And you have all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, like, you graduate, good luck.
Right.
So don't worry, it's okay. And if you need anybody, like, your teammates are there for you. Melissa will be there for you, your family. But I know that was a struggle too. So